my love for you. If you meet somebody else that's a rival, that much is true. Yeah, I know you said, baby, this is final, and I blame myself. All that's left of me now is an animal, and I cry for help. I wish my call's gonna reach you. Give it my all, 'cause I need you out. Let it go, let it go, let it go, till I get you alone. I can't help but howl like a wolf, howl like a wolf. I wish my call's gonna reach you. Give it my all, 'cause I need you. I will howl like a wolf, baby, I will howl like a wolf. When the sun fades, when the night awaits, I'll be howling and howling and howling for you, babe. Can't keep my pain quiet any longer. Gotta let it out. Are you anywhere near? So I wonder, can you hear me now? I know it ain't over till it's over, 'cause I'm still alive. If only you'd come a bit closer, maybe I'll survive. I wish my call's gonna reach you. Give it my all, 'cause I need you out. Let it go, let it go, let it go, till I get you alone. I can't help but howl like a wolf, howl like a wolf. I wish my call's gonna reach you. Give it my all, 'cause I need you. I will howl like a wolf, baby, I will howl like a wolf. When the sun fades, when the night awaits, I'll be howling and howling and howling.
Okay, welcome back to another video. It is Monday afternoon, it's 4 p.m, so I'm in pretty good time tonight. Training in our own garage is a blessing because I actually managed to get things done in good time. I've still got some work to do after, and I've got another podcast episode to record tonight. If you haven't already, check out my new podcast. It is out now, the Art of Lifting podcast. It is currently on Spotify and YouTube. I will hopefully add it to Apple Podcasts soon, but I just want to get launched on the other platforms first, and then I will figure out how to do that. Session. So I've still got RDLs left to go. Just have a little bit of a break just so my lower back can like calm down a little bit. But I'm pretty happy actually. So my body weight is doing the usual where it's starting to sort of plummet going into comp. So yesterday I did actually increase my food a little bit. I literally just put my carbs up by about 30 grams just to slow the weight loss. Like I don't mind dropping slowly into comp, but I don't want it to be anything drastic. I am probably just gonna do a 1 or 2 day gut cut when I get there anyway. But I didn't feel great yesterday and today, well, all weekend to be honest. I feel like I also didn't take any downtime over the weekend. Like I had such a productive weekend. I am a loser. I literally wrote on Friday, I was thinking of all these different things I had to do over the weekend. And I made checklists for both days. But I also didn't make it easy for myself and just give myself nice, easy jobs that were realistic. I gave myself like 20 different things I wanted to do each day. And I didn't get all of them done, but I did get the majority and like I prioritized the important ones and stuff. But like, I just didn't give, I think it was like 10:30 last night and I sat there and I was like, I haven't done anything to relax this weekend. Like anything. But it's fine. So anyway, today, coming into this session, I feel okay. Like I don't feel like I'm wearing myself down, and this weekend coming up, I've got social plans and stuff, so I am not going to be able to work myself into the ground this weekend. But yeah, going into this session, I feel fine. Like I've fueled myself, I've made sure I'm hydrated and things like that. But as I was squatting, my body feels a little bit tired anyway. Like my accessory day last Friday, I felt exhausted. Like it was so hard to push. And it was my last like full body accessory day that I had to push until after comp anyway. I've got an accessory day tomorrow that I'm probably also going to push, and then everything's dialing back in terms of accessories until comp anyway. But it's like my body's kind of at peak fatigue, and I sort of knew that going in, like my left glute felt a little bit tight going in and just stuff like that. So I still plan to obviously load what I have. Like I didn't deviate from the plan whatsoever. But I don't want to say I expected things to feel bad, because I don't ever let myself think that. I go by how things feel when I'm actually in the session. But let's just say I wasn't surprised when my second squat warm-up at 120 felt heavy as hell on my back. So I knew from that moment that squats weren't going to feel super quick, super easy, but I knew that they were still going to move absolutely fine. And I was actually on the phone to my friend before I trained, and she asked what I had today. And I was like, oh, I've got a triple at 167. And I was like, that is ridiculous weight for week 2. Like she's reminded me, I'm capable of doing that on week 2, but it is a little bit mad that I'm doing a triple at 167 on week 2. But I did it, and it was absolutely fine. I think the tight left glute did kind of make me feel a little bit nervous. I wasn't worried about hurting myself or anything, but it was just one of those things that you're aware of. But the actual set itself moved fine. The last rep, I did fall forward slightly in misgroove, which is why I started giggling halfway through, but it was still super comfortable, super speedy, really low RPE, like exactly how I needed it to be. And then back off 5s at 145 were also absolutely fine. I did rush them, especially I think the first set is the one that I filmed on my camera. I completely rushed through that. I mean, I rushed through all 3 sets, but it's fine. They moved absolutely fine. Kept rest breaks short just to keep things as close to comp conditions as possible, knowing that I've got a really short flight on the day. And then moved on to bench. So bench is where things got interesting. So bench, so for context, if you watch my videos, you know that at comp, I mess up bench. It's just a thing that I do. Bench is arguably by far my best lift. Like my bench is a competitive, like I've benched 120 before. It was touch and go, but it was still like my butt pretty much stayed down. It was still a good rep, and it wasn't like a full on grind either. So for context, my bench is decent, okay? But my comp max is 107.5, and it's been 107.5 for a very long time. Bearing in mind, I have repped 107.5 for 5 before, I believe. But generally, what happens is, in training, my positioning feels great, my bench feels consistent, I feel great. I then go to comp, or let's say I go to powering through for my end of block session, and things just don't feel as good. And I know exactly why, and I just haven't really addressed it until this point. It's basically because then when I get onto a combo rack, in a singlet, in a full outfit, like if I'm in just my sports bra, it's fine, or a vest. But because I'm in a singlet, obviously the material is a little bit slippier. Even if the bench pad isn't particularly, like the bench pad I've got here on the primal rack is actually decent. Like it's not that sticky. I also just realized that the word primal used to be white, and it is like really dirty. And I don't think that's from me. I think that's from the guys that used it before. They're friends, it's fine. Like I know they're not dirty people, but I've just realized how grim that is. But it's fine, I'm gonna ignore that. Yeah, no, so basically, the rack I've got is really good, and actually, it is a lot more solid than the newer Lico, and it is slightly softer than the older Lico. So for me, it's pretty much what I like. I do know, I just caught my shoe on the chair. I do know that the softer Lico pad, if we use that at Commonwealth, will definitely set me up for more success, because I've used it at powering through a few times, and it definitely feels much better than when I normally transition to a combo. However, I am trying to mitigate the fact that at this comp coming up and future comps, that I struggle with my setup, which is why I'm forcing myself to bench in my singlet on this combo rack, and all of my sessions between now and comp are going to be here in our home gym. So I will use this combo rack for all of my main bench, and I'm going to keep my singlet on, because I do think this is slightly slippier than a comp bench. And I've also put a doormat down today, which is slightly slippy, which also is going to replicate comp floor, because we are competing at the end of the competition, the 84 women are, and the floor is probably going to be a little bit slippy by that point, the carpet, and that is something else that I struggle with on comp day. So basically, very long story, I always feel like on comp day, I can't hold my position, I can't keep my chest in a high position, because as I bring the bar down to my chest, my traps, my neck, everything slips a little bit, and my chest just kind of collapses on the descent, which is the opposite of what we want. And I also feel like my foot position is never great, because my feet tend to slide. No matter what shoes I wear, they always feel like they're going to slide on the carpet. So I think today I have replicated comp conditions as much as I possibly can. I still need to measure this bench just to check the height difference between this and the Eleiko pad, but to be honest, I'm not too worried about that because I know that if I tuck my back to the point where I feel my butt on the pad at comp, it won't probably make a difference because I think today I have figured out the positioning that I need and that I can maintain. So basically, I was benching, I was doing my ascending sets, and my ascending sets always feel fine because they're pretty light. And then I went on to my top singles. The first one, terrible. Don't get me wrong, all three of them were better than all three of them last week. So I used the same load as last week's session because last week was an overshoot and I was not happy with execution. So in my mind, I did not earn the right to load more this week. So did the same weights as last week. And my 102.5 singles, the first one did not feel great at all. It was quite grindy. It was just a bit, not grindy, but it wasn't quick. It was nowhere near as easy as it should be. It was a decent length pause. I think it was a good 3 count pause though. Second single, very comfortable, not a very long pause. Now don't get me wrong, it was still longer than a comp pause, but I want these pauses to be like 2 to 3 seconds, like very strict comp pause, just to prepare myself for the worst case scenario. Third rep, I think was about right. It was still harder than it should have been, but it was a longer pause, still not maybe as long as I was after, but it was longer than the second pause, and the bar moved at an okay speed. Still not as quick as it should move, but I'm also very fatigued today. And I knew that from squats. If squats don't feel good, then I probably shouldn't expect bench to. Like squats are the ones lately that have been by far the best. So after my 102.5 singles, I was having a little bit of a mental crisis. I was essentially sat here and I was thinking to myself, if I can't comfortably bench 102.5 with a long pause, I've got no chance of podium at comp. Like it is going to be very close at comp and I want to get the podium. I am currently ranked 3rd. I don't want to come out any lower than that. Obviously, if it happens, it happens. As long as I have a good day and I put up a decent total, I will be happy. But obviously, I want to place as high as possible. So I literally was having such a mental crisis. And I was like, if I can't bench 102.5 comfortably, what the hell is wrong with me? I was like, I've benched 120 before. I've benched 115 more times than I can count before with a pause. Like I should be benching 102.5 like an empty bar, day in, day out. And I was really annoyed with myself. And then I went on Instagram. And Agatha Shitko had just posted her primary SBD of the week, where she benched 156 for a double. And then obviously her back offs were also really heavy. And I literally watched that and I was like, Sian, just grow up. Like, just grow up. You can bench this. You're just having a pity party. And then from that moment, my bench felt great. My triples at 95 obviously should feel easy, but they felt really easy. And above all of that, my positioning felt really solid. Like I had my feet a little bit further back to mitigate the fact that if my feet do slip, they're still going to be in a strong position. I'm struggling with the unrack, but I know I'm getting a lift off at comp. And I think on Thursday, my boyfriend should be home to give me an unrack anyway. So I know that the unrack is going to be adding a little bit of extra fatigue to my reps or like my set. So that's something that I'm also bearing in mind. But everything felt better, basically. I managed to keep my upper body positioning a lot more stable after that. And I think I just needed that little reality check where I was like, all you can do is fix the problem. All you can do is keep trying to find the solution. The reason I'm still doing so many sets on this day is because I was going to pull volume back on this day for my comp block to reduce some fatigue. But the reason I'm not doing that yet is because I need to get my positioning consistent on this bench so that at comp, I can get my positioning consistent. I can figure out what I need to do to mimic these conditions or like to mimic this positioning on comp conditions, if that makes sense. So basically, I had to just have a word for myself. And bench then felt really good. My back offs felt really solid. And I think I've earned the right to go heavier next week. I still think on the final week of the block, I'm going to pull this session back a little bit in terms of volume because it is quite a high volume day. But I'm going to see how I feel when accessories are pulled back. So that was what I really had to say. I've got RDLs now. I do think because I had my feet slightly more tucked back, my lower back was just it wasn't like painful or anything, it was just a little bit unhappy. But that's really common for me. It's not something I'm worried about. It feels absolutely fine now. I've just sat for a few minutes. And obviously at comp, I'm just doing 3 singles. So it's not something I even have to think about. It's just in training. I think I've mentioned this before in videos. It's just something that I'm slightly conscious of. So sometimes I do just let my butt come up if it's a day where it feels particularly bad or anything. But the other thing as well that I've been doing, although this garage isn't obviously overly wide, it's just a single garage. And because of the size of the combo and the fact of where we've got the plates, it's quite hard to set my camera up from the side angle. So I literally just have my phone like balanced, just filming if my butt lifts or not, which I can confirm my butt stayed down for all of the sets that I filmed from the side, including the last 2 back off sets when I felt like my positioning was at its best. So that is also very good news. Anyway, I don't really have any much more to say in terms of training, and I do need to get on and get my RDLs done because I've got another podcast episode that I'm filming tonight. I need to eat before that, and I do need to do a food shop, but I don't think I'm going to have time before, so I might do that after. But yeah, no, I'm feeling pretty good. I don't think there's any updates at the moment. I feel like over the weekend, not only have I been incredibly busy with work, I've also been annoyed because if you are in the world of powerlifting, you follow it on social media, you will have seen the issue of the IPF coaching course, which I'm not going to speak too much on, but essentially there were sexist slides being taught in the IPF coaching course around how to coach a female athlete, and it was literally just nonsense, and it's actually being taught to coaches at an international level by the IPF, and there is lots of uproar over it, and I just feel like it annoyed me a lot on Saturday when it was first released. Like, it really annoyed me. And I'm not really an angry person. I'm not someone that takes things personally, but that brought up, and like seeing the conversation around it, brought up a lot of memories of me when I was younger, dealing with sexist issues as a woman, like a female coach, and just a woman in lifting, and seeing other people talk about it and stuff. Like, it was just a lot. And then Sunday, I'd kind of just processed it, got over it, fine, whatever. I wasn't that surprised, to be honest. And then I saw the IPF's apology, or attempt at an apology, and it was literally just even worse than the original post itself. Like, it was just gaslighting, saying, sorry that you were offended by this. It was taken out of context. We're not sexist. You just think we are. And then I spoke to someone that has done the course, and they were like, no, it's not taken out of context. We were all confused why it was in there too when we did the course. And I got sent the course material as well, which I don't think I was supposed to do. I'm obviously not going to say where I got it from. And yeah, no, it's bullshit. And it really annoyed me. And I feel like that also probably hasn't helped with my recovery and stuff over the weekend, because alongside working ridiculously long days, which I don't mind doing because I enjoy what I do, but I should make time for downtime, I just felt like I was also a bit annoyed because of all of that. So, yes. But on the plus side, yesterday, Sunday, I did film an amazing podcast episode with Hannah Matson, who is known as 440 Coaching. She is a nutritionist. She's done a degree in nutrition. She's a nutritionist. She's a powerlifting coach. She's combined her skills for both, and she is a very amazing coach here in GB. And I did a podcast with her, and I think we talked for nearly 2 hours, and pretty much an entire hour of that was nutrition, and it was a really interesting conversation, and I'm really excited to put that out. My first podcast launched this morning with a Quinn, 84 plus lifter here in GB. She's the #1 ranked 84 plus lifter here in GB. We had a really good chat, I think it was last Tuesday, and I released that this morning, and I've had really good feedback on that too, so I'm very excited. But if you have not already listened to it, please go listen to my podcast and let me know what you think. I will try and get on Apple Music soon, but for now, Spotify and YouTube will have to do. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking. I don't know if this is the end of the video. It probably is. I think I mentioned in the last video, just until after comp, these videos probably will be a little bit shorter, just because I really need to focus and get them done in decent time. I say that as I've sat here talking for far too long when I've still got stuff to do. But yeah, I need to get my sessions in a good time because comp is going to run pretty fast. I will include a clip of my RDLs. I found last week my back was incredibly fatigued, and I realised it when I was doing my RDLs, which is why I stopped at 110. This week I've got 120 written down, but I'm just going to see how I feel. At this point, I do think I should probably start pulling them back a little bit, and if I don't this week, I will from next week, just because I also noticed when I was deadlifting on Thursday, I did just feel a little bit fatigued, but that was also obviously from accessories. Like, my main accessory days, obviously RDLs are also an accessory. So yeah, I'm going to basically just go by how I feel today, but aim is 120, but I'd be happy with like 110 again. But I'm going to stop talking and get them done.